Well, hello. How are you? Yeah, a good day? Was it a good day? Awesome. Okay, a question for you. How many of you like Walt Disney World? Yeah, all right. So I grew up on the West Coast, so I like Disneyland. So I grew up with Disneyland, and so in college, I went to college in LA, and so we would get season passes to Disneyland. And every now and again, I would get a phone call that's random. I'm supposed to be studying for my degree, but I get these distractions, these phone calls. Hey, Chris. Hey, what's up? What are you doing today? I'm studying. What are you doing today? You got really quiet. Hello? Well, we're wondering, wait a minute, who's we? Well, about 5 of us, we want to go to Disneyland. And we want to know if you want to go with us. Oh, I see how it is. You're asking me because I'm going to be a pass. I have a disability, right? And so we don't have to wait in the lines. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So I would go because I like Disneyland. So the whole day, my friends knew this about me. There is one ride at Disneyland and at Walt Disney World, because I've been there too, that I cannot stand. And they know this. I'll tell you. And they would connive me and trick me to get me on this ride. You know what it is? Yeah, it's a small world. So, we go up through the exit, I feel like a dork. We get in this boat, and we go in this building, right? And as soon as we're in this building, there they are. They're everywhere. They're ugly. They're hideous looking. They're dolls. And they're all over the place. They're riding unicycles above your head. They're flying on magic carpets. And their eyeballs open and close, and you can hear them click. And as if that is not enough, they start singing. It's a small world. It's a small world after all, and not only do they sing it in English, they sing it in 20 other languages. And the ride lasts for 30 minutes. And it's so slow. Hurry up, go! And I always thought this would be the best thing ever, to take like a pellet gun or a slingshot and go in there and just bing, 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 bing. That would be a blast. It's a small world, right? Boats. How many of you like boats? I love boats. All right, so let me read you a story about a boat ride. It's in Mark 4, and I love this story, and this is why. It relates to me, and I guarantee you it will relate to you tonight. You ready for this? Mark 4, verse 35, it says, that day when evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side. And leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him, and a furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus, he was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion, and the disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. And he said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And they were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this?" Because even the wind and the waves obey him. Who is this guy? Boats. I have a picture of a boat for you. Well, actually, it's a boat dock. Check this picture out. I took it. Yeah. Like that? I took that picture with my iPhone, and I like filters, so I like messing around with that. It's pretty good, right? Okay. So, hang on, before you do that, look at my next picture. Yeah, what's that? You know what that is? It's a pier on the beach. Okay, so we have two distinct things, right? A pristine picture, the first one. This one, a little messy, a little crooked, a little out of focus. Two extremes. This is why I shake in my hands, all right? I tremor in them. Some days I have good days, the first picture. Some days, not so good, the second picture. I actually like the second picture because I feel it's art. You're not supposed to get it, so that's why you interpret it. So why is it messy? Whatever, it's art. In this story, we have two extremes. The same thing. Because look at this. Jesus' followers were fishermen. They knew what a storm was like. They've been in several of them. But for whatever reason, this one really shook them. You've been through things in your life that you've cruised through. They were difficult, but you got to the other side. But then the other extreme comes, and you're hit with something else. And it's difficult to navigate whatever that is in your life. And you start to ask questions. So I have three questions I want to ask myself and you tonight. The first one is this: what is out of control in your life right now? Jesus said this to his disciples: "Hey, let's go over to the other side." Why did he say that? Well, if you look at Mark chapter 1 and 2, it talks about Jesus teaching a message from stepping inside a boat. In old terms, that boat was his pulpit. And in that message, he talks about this parable of scattering seeds. Some falling on a rocky place, some falling among thorns, some falling along what is called the good path. And if you're on that good path, you produce a lot in life. You're successful because you have this anchor of Jesus in your life. The seed on the rock, you receive the gospel message that Jesus with joy, but you walk away maybe from a week like this, and because you have no root there, it dies away. Or the seed among thorns, your possessions get in the way, your material things, and they tend to become more important to you than God wants to be in your life. So he speaks this message to a crowd from inside a boat as his pulpit, so to speak. And what we just read now about the storm becomes the application to this message, because they're in it. I want to show you a couple pictures of my life. Is that all right? The first one's this. I know, right? Thank you. Do you know what I'm standing in front of? You know what that is? Holy moly, wow! Okay, I don't feel so old. So because I'm a trimmer, I can't write with a pen or pencil. I just shake all over the place, and the pen or pencil is like possessed or something. It just dances everywhere and does its own thing. My letters are crooked, they come out jagged, so whenever I write, it's always at a computer. Oh, I can do my scribbles, but you may not be able to read them. I was born with a condition called fine motor cerebral palsy. And the only thing that really affected about me was I shook. Shake, rattle, roll, right? I shook. That was it. I was athletic. I looked just like you. You can tell I had a disability. I looked just like all you. Well, I was a lot better looking than you all, but I looked like you. I walked like you. I talked normal. And I was a fast runner. I was like the third fastest runner in my school. I loved it. And life was awesome. And then the next picture will show you another extreme. That's my yearbook photo in a freshman in high school. Hello. But notice my head. You're too kind. Notice my head. It's a cockeyed. What happened? It's out of focus. What's going on? I went to bed one night in the 8th grade. It was April of my 8th grade year. Hunky-dory, everything in life was awesome. I wake up the next morning. I get out of my waterbed. Oh, waterbeds are the best beds in the world. I get out of my waterbed, and I cannot hold up my head. It was down like this, and I couldn't lift it back up. And at first I thought there's something wrong on it. It was some sort of a kink, and it would just get better, and it would just go away. But later I learned that wasn't the case. I started seeing doctors left and right. I went through a slew of medical tests and procedures. And after about 2.5 months, I was diagnosed with another disability. And that is actually the one that you see right now. And it's called torsional dystonia. It's the twisting of your torso. And because my torso twists, I walk the way I walk. I can't run anymore, but I can skedaddle. But that's it. Because my torso twists, my vocal cords and twist with it, and that's why I sound the way that I sound. And life got chaotic. Talk about the storm. Jesus said to his disciples, hey, let us go over to the other side. The other side of what? I want to go back to the other side of what I knew. I don't want this life. This isn't what I signed up for. The Sea of Galilee, it's not really a sea, it's a freshwater lake. It's 14 miles long, 8 miles wide, it's the widest. about 120 feet or so deep. I've been to this Sea of Galilee 3 times. I've gone to Israel 3 times, and I've been on a boat in this lake. And north of the Sea of Galilee, or it's also called Lake Tiberias, is a big mountain called Mount Hermon that's 9,000 feet above sea level. When the cold air from the mountain swoops down and the warm air of the sea mixes, sometimes you get big storms like we just read. So big that the waves just start crashing in. The Sea of Galilee, the shape of it is more or less like a harp. And now the disciples are frantic. And Jesus says, let's go over to the other side. Let's go on and venture. Well, when I wake up with this in 8th grade, you can have this adventure because I don't want it. You know why? Because I'm instantly judged. I hate being in public because I'm stared at wherever I go. I know I'm good looking, but come on, get over it, right? But it's difficult. I'm always misunderstood. I'm always the freak. I'm always the punchline of a joke. Life isn't easy for Chris Simning. I'm insecure. I have fear. I wrestle with fitting in still as an adult. It's hard, student. And that's why I'm here tonight. Because some of you don't want to be on the adventure that you're on. You don't want to go over to the other side because you don't know what's there. You can't see it. And what I love about what this says in Mark is that they took Jesus along just as he was in the boat. And what is Jesus doing? He's sleeping. He's resting. Where? In the back of the boat. He's in the stern. And these experienced fishermen, his disciples, they're frantic. They're scared to death. They've seen multiple storms on the lake, on the Sea of Galilee, but this one is just, for whatever reason, different. It's interesting where Jesus is in this boat. He's in the back, right? And as if to be sarcastic, he's sleeping on a cushion. La, 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 la. Nothing's going to move him. What's he doing? Resting. That's our theme this week, rest. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He's resting. Question number 2. How are you trying to contain your storms? Isn't it interesting that the weakest things about us, you know where we put them? In the back of our lives? Where Jesus is in the back of the boat? All those insecurities, all those fears, all those self-image issues, we don't want others to see them. So what do? We put them in the back where they're less noticeable. But wait a minute. Jesus is in the back of this boat. It's right where they need to be because Jesus, you can rest in the power and authority of who he is and what he wants to do in your life. The battle of the storm, it's not so much physical. It becomes an eternal warfare. You can see my storm, it's obvious. I can't see yours. You mask it well. You cover it up. But you're hurting. How are you trying to contain your storms tonight? The disciples woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" So when I was diagnosed in 8th grade with this muscle nerve disease, from my 8th grade year to my senior year of high school, that's 4 years, 5 years, I didn't see a better day. Every day got worse. I began tripping and falling down at school, for instance. And I didn't want this, but in between my junior and senior year of high school, I was confined to a wheelchair. And I never thought I would ever walk again. Why? That's how aggressive my storm got. This muscle nerve disease was taking over my life. And I had no control of it. And I didn't know how to contain it. Instead, I thought that I was drowning. And I grew up in the church since I was about 8 years old. And I heard about this Jesus that loved me so much. I tried to tell that to somebody in a wheelchair. At least that's what I thought then. I don't think that now when I see people in wheelchairs. I think that's a blessing, not a curse. They have a voice. When I was put in a wheelchair at first, I didn't want it. And then I had people that would come along that would encourage me. Here's the next picture. It's me in a tuxedo. In a wheelchair. That's the chair. Because the next picture is this. That's my prom date. Yeah, right? So I called them my pushers. I know that doesn't sound right, but they were my pushers, meaning this. There was a student for the whole year, my senior year of high school, that was committed to every day, coming to each end of a period of class, and they would push me to my next class. So I had 6 different pushers. That sounds weird. Angie was one of them. And one day she's pushing me to 6. She was my last pusher of my day. And we're going along. Hey, Chris. Yeah, go Andrew. Hey, I have a question for you. Shoot. Will you go to the prom with me? Oh, don't get your heart all happy here. You know what my response was? No. I know. And she said, what? You know what my response was? You don't want to go with somebody like me. Yeah? You're so beautiful, you can go with anybody in school. Don't go. Okay. Thank you, but I wasn't looking for that. But I said go with somebody else. But you're my friend. I want to take you. We're gonna double date. And things that I can help you with, like helping you in the bathroom, my friend's boyfriend's gonna do all that. Go. Come. Let's boogie. I can't dance, so I go. You know what she does? She's muscular. We get on the dance floor in the wheelchair, and she pops wheelies. We do 360s. It was awesome. And then we get to this point in life where I realize this. My disease, muscular nerve disease, is not a mistake. It's not an oops. It's a blessing. It's not a curse. I never thought I would be a motivational speaker. Have you heard me speak? I can't speak right.
You speak awesome.
Well, thank you. All right. I wasn't looking for that either. Okay, so I don't talk like a motivational speaker talks. You guys, you know what though I like about my voice? It makes you guys listen. And that's why you're quiet. It's a tool. My last question. Is about the beast. Is what you're hoping in the confidence that you really have to bring you peace? Is what you're hoping for really the thing that's going to give you the peace and confidence that you need? Because if you're putting your trust in other things other than Jesus, it's going to disappear in a flash, in a moment. It's not going to lead you to peace. It's going to lead you more to wanting more answers to living life. Student, Jesus is the answer. He's the author and perfecter of our faith. He is our anchor for our soul in Hebrews 6, verse 19. He holds everything in the palm of his hands, even your circumstances, even the things in your life that you just don't understand. We can rest in the power and authority of Jesus Christ. You got this. Jesus is in the back of the boat for a reason. Because he doesn't want you to hide the pain of your life in the back of your recesses of your being. He wants you to be real. He wants your storms. He seeks and desires to have your chaos. Why? Because he wants to use it in a mighty, mighty way. He has good plans for us in deserts and in gardens. We sang that this week. He loves you. The next scene here, what does Jesus do in response to this chaos? He gets up and he rebukes the wind and the waves and he says this, quiet, be still. The last two pictures I'll show you, one is me wearing a hat and I'm in a motorized wheelchair. If you get a chance to drive one of those, they're quite fun. That's me at Wheelchair Olympics. The last picture is me at a swim meet. And for ribbons on my ears, it says first place, they're liars. I came in dead last by 4 laps. It's horrible. But swimming became the tool that God used to help me. I began in the water, and it became water therapy. For 2.5 years, I was in the water. Assistants would work with me, stretch my arms and my legs. They set me out in a life vest, and then eventually they removed the life vest and re-taught me to swim like I could when I was a little child. And then they would stand me up in the water and rock my arms in front of me and get the rocking motion, and I began to take steps in the water. Not on the water, I'm not Peter, but in the water. And after about 2.5 years, ta-da, I'm walking. I don't take any medication, whatever, whatsoever, none whatsoever. I'm a miracle. You know what I tell people? I tell people, I've been healed. And they'll look at me funny and they'll say, healed? You're not healed, look at you. You still walk weird. You say, your life, you can see your disability. You know what I tell them? You're not healed either, look at you. Not to be rude, but student, you have disabilities that I can't see. They're insecurities, their loneliness, it's rejection, it's all that stuff. And you hide it well. Jesus is the calmer of all our storms. Do you trust him? If you look at storms, we talked about all the circumstances of our life. The biggest storm in life is sin. And all of us in this room, we wrestle with sin. You know what sin does? It separates us from a loving God. Why? Because God is perfect and we are not. We are sinners and we are doomed for hell. Because sin can't enter into heaven because God is perfect. You know what that means? You need a Savior. You need an anchor. You need a Lord who will save you not only from your circumstantial sin, but from life itself. Because he's the way, the truth, and the life. He loves you. I like the brevity of Jesus' words. Quiet, be still. Where are you at with your maker tonight? Do you just say that you believe in God? Well, Satan says that too, but look at where he is. Or do you trust him with your life? He has good plans for you. He made it happen. He wants to cover our sin. He wants to do away with the biggest storm of our lives in our hearts. He wants to rid it. Will that mean we'll stop sinning? No. But it means we have a Savior, student. So as I close, watch this behind me. It's a storm. You hear it? The wind, the thunder. Oh, the waves are gonna get rough. They're gonna get big. They're starting to roll. That's us. It's chaotic. And life has a hold on us. And the things we deal with are things like bitterness, loneliness, trying to fit in, peer pressure. Our storms are real, student. My storm is all too real. And what I love about this storm that you're watching right now is this. Jesus is in the midst of it all. Jesus in the book of John, he says, I am statements all over that book. I am the bread of life. I am the good shepherd. I am the gate for the sheep. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the true vine. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the light of the world. And because we are not perfect, but Jesus is, because Jesus is God in a body, he came down to earth as a human to die for you and me and give up his perfection for us, for our sin. But it required a sacrifice. It required him hanging on a cross, a gruesome death, a storm above all storms. And he takes that on himself to set us free, student. Will it take away your pain? Will it take away your brokenness? By no means. We live in a broken world. But we can rest in the power and authority of who Jesus is. So you need to rest because he has you. Don't slough him off in the back of the boat. Pay attention to what he has for you. Why? Because he died for you, and not only did he die for you, he was buried, and 3 days later he rose again. And the last 3 words on the cross he uttered before he died, it's so amazing, student, what God does. He simply says, it is finished.